The largest Bitcoin transaction in recent history is moving steadily through the blockchain as over 1 billion, yes, that's Billy with a B, dollars in Bitcoin was just transferred on network. That's 94,504 Bitcoins. We seem to be able to confirm that all of the funds did originate from one source, which can be tracked back to a large accumulation buy wallet in 2016. So, question is this back doing final stress testing? Is this Fidelity? Is this TD Ameritrade? Or is this just Bitfinex up to their old tricks again? Either way, it seems Bitcoin, after breaking above resistance early this morning, is poised for a large movement. But is it onwards and upwards to the moon? Or is this a sign that we are at the top? Let's break it all down in today's exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Welcome to Breaking Bitcoin, recorded live here in the studio. It is Friday, guys. TGIF. It is September 6th, 2019. Foul year of our Lord, your daily source for market updates, sentiment, and news for traders. I'm your host, Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at crackingcryptocurrency.com. Hopefully you guys are doing absolutely fantastic wherever you happen to be tuning in from. And whether you're watching us from across YouTube, Twitch, DLive, Facebook, or on Roku, with the Investor News Channel app. If you want to support the show, make sure to subscribe, follow, share, and engage in the live chat. Hitting the thumbs up button is mandatory. We appreciate it, guys. This episode of Breaking Bitcoin is brought to you by us. If you are a new, aspiring, or experienced trader looking to sharpen your skills, make sure to head over to premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com to see everything that the premium can offer for you, including exclusive trade signals and setups, our proprietary indicators, the pathway to profit, strategy building course, mentorship, and of course, access to our private Discord community for mentorship and education. Premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Come join the fastest growing community of traders online today. We've got a fantastic show for you today. I don't even know where to start. Super excited. We've got so much to go over. Today, we're going to break down Bitcoin's price. We're going to look at your user submitted chart requests. We're going to go over the position size adjusted, that's risk adjusted, actual P&L results from the group, the trading group for the month of August. We returned 29% actual ROI on cash equity, meaning whatever USD value, if you took every recommended trade, if you position sized appropriately, as we teach in the course, as is posted with our signals, one would have returned 29% on their equity. So we're going to go over that. We're going to find out who won the chair contest giveaway, right? We're not giving away a chair, but we are giving away some Bitcoin. And we are letting individuals select the name of the new trading chair. Now, that might seem trivial to you, but I'll tell you this. As somebody who has spent quite a long time as a professional trader, you need a comfy chair. And unfortunately, this one is not cutting it. So we did get a new chair, and we're going to let you guys name her because you can't sit on a man all day long. That's just my personal preference. So we're going to go over that. We're going to talk about this $1 billion in Bitcoin. We're going to talk about, we've got some actual statistics now. So anybody that's invested in ICOs or IEOs, I mean, all they have to do is look at their portfolio to know that things have not been going so well. Something is slightly rotten in the state of Denmark, but we've got some actual statistics to back that up. And of course, we're going to start off today, as we always do, by giving away some crypto. This is the last few days where we're going to be giving away X42 protocol. We're going to be starting to give away Spectre security coins. So big shout out to the Spectre community starting Monday. So this is the last few days we'll be giving away X42. That's the last day we'll actually be giving away X42 protocol. So make sure to go check out last month's and last day of the sponsor of the Crypto Comment giveaway, X42 protocol. You can check them out at x42.tech. All right, and here we are in the live scene, coming to you from the frosty mountains of the Himalayas. Ain't nothing like a sideways party. That was me singing yesterday, because I'm just grabbing the URL from yesterday's YouTube video so we can load up the comments. And we will randomly pick a winner amongst the 14 commenters. And it was cavzzkidjk. cavzzkidjk. Yeah. Hey, man, thanks so much for the support and for leaving the comment. He says, excited to see some big moves, and we're seeing them today, not only on network, but also in the chart. So thank you so much for the support. Get a hold of me in the Discord, and I will tip you some crypto, my good friend. It's pretty easy to find me. I'm the guy at the top right of the Kraken Crypto Discord, discord.krakencryptocurrency.com. All right, we've got a lot to talk about. Let's slide on over into the live scene, and let's get the music turned off, even though it is fantastic music, but we'll bring it back. We'll hide this for right now, and we will also make sure that we switch right on over to our primary baseline as well. Make sure that's set for crypto and not Forex, and we are good as far as that goes. Okay, good. So we've got all the requirements. We'll start off here. Actually, we'll start off as we always do, because we'll break down exactly what my system is telling me, the system that I utilize to initiate trades. And then we'll go break down and look at classical patterns, and we'll look at classical analysis that everybody else is going to be looking at, and specific nuanced ways that we can either counter trade that or utilize that to enhance what we're doing with PTP if one wants to be a little bit more active on the daily timeframes, or excuse me, on the intraday timeframes. So let me get the chat pulled open here, as well as the activity feeds. Okay, great. Yasmin Rose, 17 Salvaholic or Salahovic, and Henry Grow. I always feel bad when I do last names because I'm sure I slaughter them. Henry Grow Cola. Thanks so much for the support and for joining the community, my good friend. Ken says, I'm going to create a crazy YouTube name with consonants just to make Justin have to try to pronounce it. It'll be fun, man. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. And what's going on, guys? It's good to see you guys in here. Jake, Freudian slip. Kendi, Lee, Ferguson, Ron Legato, Mass Stash, good to see you guys. Victorian Violet, Spoon Powered 23, good to see all you guys. Hopefully you're doing fantastic this morning. Mr. Hut QC and 100, Killamaki, Killamika, yes, for sure. For sure. Okay. Weekends with Reese. What's going on, man? For taking profit with QATR. After take profit 3, would I be completely out of my position? Just asking for a friend, because sometimes I hear you say, set my stop loss, I break even and let it run. I love PTP. Well, thanks, man. I highly appreciate that. So that is going to depend on your model, right? So the default way that I teach people so that they know full opportunity in, full opportunity out is going to be, yes, after TP3, you're out of your position. You're looking for a reentry opportunity. Now, whether you're doing that on your primary time frame, which is going to be the daily, or whether you're looking for your lower time frame to justify, we've also talked about, obviously, when the conditions are right to allow you to go down to those lower time frames and look for that bullish initiation on those lower time frames. That's all going to come with your modeling. There are other ways to take profit as well. Obviously, you can take a portion of profit at a predetermined level and then let your winner run, as it would, and then have a system at which you exit, which we generally refer to as an exit indicator. People call it different things. And then we have early exit strategies as well on top of that. MT Coiner, thanks so much for throwing the $10, my good man. He says, what's up, Justin? I'm actually able to attend today. Well, it's good to see you, my good man. Thank you so much for attending, and thank you so much for the generous donation, my good friend. Highly appreciated. What else do we got? Greg Sequin, good to see you, man. Lots of the usual suspects here today. Crypto Jack, good to see you, my friend. So yeah, that's going to be typically what I'm going to recommend people do starting off, because then that way they don't have to worry about managing a trade. I think that as you get more confident, you will either default to or switch to taking a portion of profits at a predetermined level and then letting your winner run, as it would. And we'll often find that you're going to have your high probability trending strategy. And when that system or strategy fires, you have a good likelihood that the price is going to trend for quite a while, right? So that is what that is trying to get you in on. And generally with those systems, which are going to be our daily systems, you're going to be a little bit more generous about where your take profits are, for example. And if you're doing something more intraday, 4 hours more intraday, but whether you're on the 1 hour chart or the 2 hour chart, you're probably going to be a little bit more. I definitely want to take all profits today because you want to be in and out if you're trading intraday, in my opinion. The panic button. All right. So anyways, let's talk about what's going on. We are right now cresting above the upper boundary of volatility. We are cresting above the upper qualifying line. I had mentioned before that this is something that I had wanted to see that would make me a little bit more bullish, obviously. And this is coming from one of our analysts, Da Vinci's analysis this morning. We obviously do have some significant resistance here in the form of price action at this 10,900. We can actually see the high of today's daily candle was actually 10,962 here on ByBit. So looking for that strong, at least what he is looking for that nice strong close above that shelf of resistance, which is also an order block when we go down to the 4-hour time frame. This is a daily order block and a 4-hour order block, and its genesis is all the way back over here. So this is actually at current point in time a bearish breaker. So, and we'll get into that when we cover the order block analysis. But as it stands with PTP and just looking at trending activities, we let's get rid of. Actually, you know, the volume is germane to what I want to talk about. So let's keep the volume on there. Let's just get rid of this for right now so we can see a little bit more clearly. But anyways, very nice bullish candle that we're seeing cresting above resistance. I know a lot of people had wanted to take price short yesterday because, again, I had talked about that trading at that upper boundary of the descending meme triangle. And I talked about one of the fundamental reasons that I was very confident in my long, not only because my system told me to take the long, but also I thought that we had contracted enough inside of that pattern. And generally, as I say, the reason why chart patterns don't have a high probability of success trading them, they do, sometimes they work great. But the reason why they often don't work out well is because it is just at those moments in time when a pattern is evident. So let me make that a little bit clearer, right? So we had, you know, we're talking about this descending meme triangle, this falling wedge type thing. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tests of that, right? So, you know, after this test, right, you've got a pretty good established range of angular resistance and support, excuse me. And so individuals that feel confident enough to trade that strategy are going to be buying up these levels and selling these levels. So that's fine and dandy. But it wasn't really until here that you're going to have a lot of retail traders feel confident enough about the pattern. And you'll also notice at that point in time, it was only right around this area of this week when you started to see this pattern show up on all the analyst charts, you know, whether you're watching on YouTube or whether you're following your favorite crypto Twitter chartist or analyst. And it was really, because I pay attention to these things. I pay attention to what other people are posting and saying. It was really only in this week that you started to see that pattern show up. And that is exactly when it is most likely to not work the way that it's supposed to. It's only when a pattern becomes visibly evident that a lot of people want to trade it. And it's often at that point in time that it's no longer valid, because then what you have created is a hot spot. You have to understand that most of the liquidity is coming in the form of leveraged exchanges. And when you have such a situation, you have a prime opportunity to grab liquidity and push the market. So what I would say here, and the reason why I want to point volume out specifically is this. Because we have this nice upthrust above resistance. And I've also talked about this before, not as it directly relates to PTP, but as far as understanding, you know, the way that volume will often interplay with price action. And what you will often see is that volume only comes into the market in two areas, at the beginning of a trend and at the end of a trend. And generally, if you have a trend initiating volume spike, right, which is, if we zoom out, we can see some good trend initiating volume spike potential, right? Potential trend initiating volume spikes, followed by low volume in that same direction. That's often a good sign. That's often a bullish sign. When you see price reach a peak, a zenith on high volume, and then begin moving down, you can really understand, or generally it's understood, that that was a buying climax, and that there's not enough buyers now to buy up excess demand to drive the price up and to drive demand up. So the demand has dried out. You've had a demand spike, and so now there is nothing to restrain excess supply from pushing the price of a security or an asset down, in this case, Bitcoin's price. But we don't see that. We actually see, again, this trend generating volume as we crest above the daily baseline. And then we have really the continuance, 2 days of consolidation. And then we have the continuation on low volume. And, you know, one way to look at this is that volume is dying off, or that there's not a lot of volume continuing to the upside. But that's often not what you see. You see volume come in at the bottom, and you see volume come in at the top. You don't often see volume come into the middle. So if we were having this same movement, if we were having this approach to resistance on high volume, and again, this is something we've talked about as well, when you approach a level of support or resistance on high volume, that's typically a counter trade signal that is a climax of the buyers sellers. Again, that doesn't always work, but it is just a good metric to point out. But we're not approaching this level of resistance on high volume. We did, and we had a spinning top doji that we had right here 2 days ago when this candle closed, indecision between the bulls and the bears, and we were, very bored throughout that day, very bored yesterday, and then of course this early morning we end up breaking above that level, and now, and we'll see this when we go down to the lower time frames and bring out the lines. We traded right into that bearish breaker. And I want to point out that we've retested this bearish breaker from the downside to the upside once, twice. We broke through once on a fake break, 4 times, 5 times. So this would be the 6th test of that level. This would be the 6th test of that level. And again, so all that is something to consider. But as far as PTP goes, PTP is very clear on what it wants us to do. It tells us to stay in the trade. All right, we got the long signal for Minx right over here, crossing above. Minx hooked around just a little bit and then reverted right back up. We do have, well, Minx is not a divergence indicator. We'd have to look at time transformation, and we have no divergence from time transformation because we are using the longer setting on time transformation. Okay. So anyways, time transformation is still above the 0 line. Minx is still above the 0 line. Wadatar explosion has not crossed and closed underneath. In fact, we still have that rising explosion level, and I talked about why that was the progenitor of the original trade in the first place. The reason being is because Wadatar explosion does not often give powerful signals. And what is powerful signal? Powerful signal is going to be a column of the color in which price is moving above a rising explosion level indicated by a rising yellow line, or just a yellow line, because if the line is rising, then it is a rising explosion level, by the way that this is programmatically set in TradingView. But when they do give a signal, they're not to be discounted. I mean, literally every signal that we've gotten from Wadatar in the recent past has been a good buy. If we go ahead and color our bars, we can see that quite clearly. We can see that the buy signal here and 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 the buy signal here. This is not a good buy signal, although we already talked about it. You would have hit your stop loss on that wick, but then we have a good one here, and we're having another one here that is seeming to have some follow through. So it's a little early to really throw your chips in and be like, oh, I'm a fucking genius for listening to this dude on YouTube. But things do look good. I don't think that this looks overall concerning. Obviously, we're approaching this pretty significant level of resistance, so you always get a little worried being in the long trade. And again, we kind of talked about reasons to exit the trade. So even if price were to, reverse at this point in time, even if price were to reverse at this point in time, that's going to be okay. We entered into our long trade at a good time. Basically, we would retrace a little bit. We would give up some of our gains that we've made, and we're going to have that new early exit opportunity to really get the opportunity to shift trend. Although I do want to see some confirmation. It's always a possibility that we just retrace. But honestly, I don't think that that's likely to happen. The 4-hour looks quite healthy. If we go down to the 4-hour, we did consolidate right along the 4-hour baseline for quite a while, and that's exactly where we kicked off of. And that's exactly what I said yesterday. I said I really don't want to see a close below the 4-hour baseline. We did not see a close below the 4-hour baseline. And of course, we're holding well above that Donchian 26 that we talked about. That Donchian 26 that we talked about at length yesterday. And I've actually been back testing that a little bit, and that's good. That's good in of itself. I think that's a fine baseline, and I see why he's using that. Again, I talked about the difference between using a sensitive and a less sensitive baseline and the differences behind that. And when you trade with a sensitive baseline like the 13 EMA, you're going to have very specific strategies, and guys in the group are very familiar with that. The baseline kind of lets us do a lot of stuff that we otherwise wouldn't be able to if we were using something like the 55, for example. But for a lot of people, maybe a less sensitive baseline is going to be really what they want, right? Because you're not going to have as much interaction with the baseline, and you're going to be relying more on your indicators rather than, or your oscillators in this point in time, rather than your baseline to really be kicking you in and out of a trade. All right. And it's just a little bit more delineatory of what you want to be doing potentially. But again, I do like the 13. I've tested lots of different systems, and the system that I currently have and utilize, the 13, is what works best. So anyways, daily looks good. We are cresting above that upper ATR band currently on the daily, cresting above yesterday's current ATR band. We can see that our daily baseline is curved to the upside, which is good. It's not flat. It is continually curved to the upside, even over this period in time. We did not lose our angle, which is good. That's a nice bullish sign. You can use the tilt of the baseline to also be a leading indicator. It's actually a lagging indicator, but that is a trend confirmation indicator. We don't see anything concerning coming in from Minx. We also don't see anything concerning coming in from Fisher Transform. And really the early warning sign is going to be WADA, seeing that momentum kind of die out. But WADA's fine. WADA's fine. It did not go below the dead zone. It did not go below the explosion level, and we still have a rising explosion level. So all this looks quite good to me. Going down to the 4-hour time frame. Going down to the 4-hour time frame. Now, the 4-hour time frame is interesting because the Minx did catch this recent long signal right here. Actually on the absolute turn gave you the long signal and is giving you a take profit long signal right now. Now, I really wouldn't be inclined to take that, unless we end up closing below this upper boundary of volatility, this upper ATR band. However, we can, link that in with the fact that, granted, we have another 2.5 hours, so we've got plenty of time for volatility to play out. So you've got a while to make a decision. But we are printing a green column below the explosion level on the 4-hour. Now, keep in mind, I don't think that supersedes the daily. I don't actually think that that's maybe the best way to go. But if you just took the 4-hour long setup and you just grabbed this trade right here, then it's not a bad idea to go ahead and make sure you snag profit, move your stop loss to break even, and just kind of wait and see how the longer term trend plays out. Are getting a purple dot of death, but again, that's going to be confirmed if we do end up crossing, I think, below that ATR volatility band. And we will probably get that red sell signal. We got one right over here, and that did lead to a pretty good decline. Again, just a reversion to the mean trade, back to the baseline. We're still above the baseline, and you don't really need to be concerned until we get back below the baseline. Now, let's go back to the daily, and we'll talk about our levels, and we'll see where we're at. Okay, so yes, we are trading above the resistance, the diagonal resistance, the angular resistance of that meme descending triangle that I've been pretty dismissive about and talking about, just being aware of what other traders are attempting to do and my justifications for why I wanted to counter trade them. Now, from the, we talked about, let's bring up Quadriga ATR. Okay. So yeah, this is what we talked about. We talked about the long signal over here. If one would have taken the original long signal from Minx, you would have just gone ahead and hit your first take profit on that movement to the upside. I saw a lot of chatter in the members lounge. I see you guys, Johnny and a couple other guys talking about hitting their first take profit. So very pleased to hear that. Congratulations, guys. Good, good, good. Have not hit the one from the primary entry on this day right now, so everything's fine. Now, okay, so as far as levels go, we are, again, as I talked about, in that daily order block that stretches from 10,882 to 10,968. And as I said, what was the high of today's candle? The high of today's candle was 10,962. So it was not able to actually crest. Now, to me, looking at this from the level of order block SR trading, you want to see that nice, clean close on the daily time frame is a strong confirmer, but again, I expect it to really move with a lot of high volatility if that is to happen. So maybe the 4-hour time frame is really what you want to be looking at to close above 10,968. And I think that is going to be your pretty basic, obvious breakout setup, right? And we talked about those upside targets, 11,527 and 12,97 as well. Those are coming from Quadriga ATR. Those are my targets. So make sure to adjust your targets for your strategy and basically what you're shooting at. Now, we are above that bullish breaker that led us to where we are right now from 10,462 to 10,389. And as I said, I don't really get concerned because that's also where the daily baseline is slowly creeping its way on up to act as that interim level of support. I don't get concerned until we get down below that level. Should we get down below that level again, then the likely move is we'll probably have all of our indicators either reset or reversed at that point in time. And most likely the setup will be the trade down at that point in time. And then again, you want to be kind of aware of those levels at which people are going to attempt to buy back into the market. But, looking at these levels, man, all of these things have been tested so much that I really do think that the breakout is more likely. But again, I'm okay if this is, we do obviously have to consider the possibility that this does fail, that this movement does fail, and that we just grab for liquidity. Now, the reason why I don't really buy that is because I do not see that blow off top of volume. I don't really see that blow off top of volume. In fact, we have more of the volume here, and typically you're going to see more of that volume on the sweep. I don't really see that volume on the sweep, so I'm not really convinced of that. This does look a little bit better, and obviously we're just struggling to get over resistance. And the fact that usually when you see a sweep, it's often quite swift and sharp, right? You sweep highs, you grab liquidity, and you move down pretty violently. This looks like more like what we've seen. We've seen a leg up, consolidation, another leg up, a little bit more violent consolidation, a leg up, consolidation, a leg up, consolidation. That seems more likely to me as we continue to move forward. But again, the rest of the day will play this out. So currently, I'm looking for the 4-hour baseline. I don't really want to see a close below that. If I see a close below that, I'll be exiting my position 50% because that will concern me a little bit. And then again, the other 50% of my position below that 10,389, just as it was previously, because yesterday I had said that if we ended up closing below 10,389, I'm going to be out 100%. Now I have ratified that to be, okay, if we close below the 4-hour baseline, I'm going to be out 50% of my position. If we close below the 10,389, then I'm out full way, all the way. So that is still valid. I've just moved 50% up, basically moving a stop, if you would, to lock in profits until I see something dramatic. But again, I'm comfortable to sit out intraday volatility as this plays. That's one of the benefits of trading higher time frames. You don't get overly concerned with lower volatility. And there's really nothing else to talk about. I don't really see anything of import. I don't really see any validity. And, you know, because I'm fine when we're talking about what levels need to break to bring in initiation. But as far as using horizontal targets, I don't really suggest that method, nor do I really care for it myself. So I don't see any validity in looking at higher things at this point in time for talking about, well, where should price go? Where might price go? I use ATR. I find that that works very well, and I recommend that other people do as well. However, I encourage you and challenge you to find your own profit-taking strategy of your own. Let's see here. Let's go here. Now, I will say on the 4-hour time frame, as James Clark did succinctly point out, we do have a little bit of regular bearish divergence forming on the Fisher transform and on time transformation. And again, as you will note, if you are in the group, time transformation does accurately spot divergence very well. It is probably the best divergence indicator out there. But again, we don't know anything, because if this rallies up, then this will not be a top. It has to actually curve and top out to be confirmed divergence. And again, I would point out that we do have a purple dot of death, but the last time that we started getting purple dots of death, it was just because we were oversold coming out of this bottom feeder range. So nothing really to say on that. One Fly VW says, "Whoa! I just dreamt I was using WADA as a re-entry. Woke up, glanced at a chart, would have me in profit today. Have I tested it for a re-entry?" Yes, I have tested the WADA ATAR explosion as a re-entry signal, as a continuation signal. It works really good. It just depends on what your metrics are. Do you need a rising? So typically, when we're talking about WADA as a initiator, as a primary entry indicator, then we're going to be talking about it in the terms of a rising explosion level in a column printing above the rising explosion level, and the dead zone filter. In terms of a confirmation indicator, then I think what we want to be seeing is a green column above the level, and rising explosion level becomes a tertiary, not as important. But yeah, it just depends on what metrics you use it in. But it's good. If you take a good indicator and you figure out how to exploit it appropriately, you get good things out of the market. As the SS, I think I answered that question. There we go. Ken D says, "Go ahead, mash up them likes." Zero Cool, what's going on, my friend? He says, if the downtrend is drawn across the top wicks, it's confluent with the bottom of the August 11th daily order block, which is where this trend will see some heavy selling, in my opinion. Excuse me, that's my target for a large short, because it's very similar to the price action when 12,000 broke up and hit the July 9th daily order block. Lots of liquidity above 11,000 and lower highs still intact at the rejection, at the daily order block rejection. Let's go look at that. So we do have in my opinion, the downtrend drawn across the top wicks. And so we have the August 11th daily order block. Let's go find it. Let's actually do a fresh chart. All right, so we're going to find the August 11th daily OB. All right, so we've got a daily bearish order block here, and it breaks here, becomes a bearish breaker. Boom, bearish breaker. Bullish breaker does not hold up. This is now just an order block, becomes a bearish breaker again, holds right there, and we're right back in that area. That's why I'm a little bullish on this. Now, that's not the 4-hour, the 2-hour OB that I have plotted out from back on the other chart from 10,882 to 10,968. Right here. And right here. Because I think that one is more conservative and a little bit more germane to the situation. But and hit the July 9th daily order block. So let's go find the July 9th order block. Yep. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yep. So yeah, when we had the fake break above the descending trend line, we wicked above right into the OB and sold off. And now we've got this daily OB, right? We sold off here. So I think the only difference here is time and momentum, right? And again, you make a very germane point. I think the difference here is time and momentum because, you know, obviously we have this very brief double top right here, and then we have a very long expansion to the downside, and then a slow recovery back up, whereas this one was much more violent, right? So a slow retest of that area and rejection. But look at what happens over here. We have that same kind of slow expansion, right? Slow expansion right here. And then the retest, this is not a double top whatsoever. This is a retest where we already test that OB. So this level's already been weakened. We already break above and reject, form a lower high, grab liquidity below this low and these lows. And this is the second retest. And again, as I said before too, you know, approaching price, the difference between approaching price on high volume and high momentum. When you approach resistance on higher volume, then you're typically going to reject from that area. And we're going to have to look at aggregated volume because there was good volume on the 19th of August aggregated across exchanges. And we don't see a whole lot of that volume now. We already had the kind of upswing breakout volume. So that's why I'm saying if we get I think if volume pours into this, that'll be a pretty impressive movement on an OB that's already been weakened by one test right here. Because breakers and OBs, that whole theory, those all typically refer to the first time you test it trades. As you can see, the more that you test these levels and weaken them, the weaker and weaker they get. It would be funny if the chair name is Bench Shapiro and Justin can't sit on a man all day. Well, one that argue that Ben Shapiro isn't a man. let's see here. Oh, I see what you're saying. Make it a little tighter like that. Okay. Well, if we draw it that side, it almost looks like a BPC, all right? A break, pullback, continuation. And we still have a very nice Heikinashi trend. Am I using thin for my alerts? What do you mean thin? Oh, yeah. It's whatever the default sound is. I just know because TradingView seems to buzz in a certain way on my phone. Where's my drink? All right, Bitcoin, show me what you can do. Oh, you heard it on mine? I don't think I have. Yeah, I don't think I have any alerts that just went off. I think you're going to have to go find those alerts, man. Let's go to... Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, James. Nice move down. Well, there's my 4-hour close in 2 hours and 18 minutes. You can use water for free, one fly VW. Just go to tv.krakencryptocurrency.com. Okay, so got the sell-off at that 4-hour/daily order block right there. Pretty powerful sell move too. Let's go down and look at the volume on the LTFs. A nice big volume here on the 30-minute time frame. Right back into the meme descending triangle below that 4-hour baseline that I talked about. So if this is the status when the 4-hour closes, I will exit my long position. And let's see what happens. Ferguson says, fake out, going to the upside. No need to say that, James. Good call, man. I hope you made money off of it. So that's a pretty abrupt WADA switch right there. We lost our rising explosion level. We've got a green column. We're below the 4-hour baseline. The 4-hour TPL was a little bit prophetic, but again, still would not have. You only act on those at candle closes, so. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, Ferguson, nothing would make me nothing would make me happier than if it was a fake out, I guess, at this point in time, because I would make money at this point in time if price went up. Although I still have my ETH short, so let's go see how that's doing. Just doing fine. This will be like the well, let's go see what percentages we're talking about right now. About 2.63%, 1 4-hour candle. We've seen better. Oh, we had about slight move down. And this is what I've noticed too. You see the big, so this is very interesting to note. So, you know, on all the models that we've built off of BitMEX, when we look at like 1-second charts, when we look at 1-second timeframes, is we see, and this is very, I think, relatant to BitMEX system overload. So what you'll see in the BitMEX system, and this almost every dump looks the same, right? Every big candle kind of looks the same, where you know, you're gonna have, you know, price moving sideways, and this is the 30-second chart I've got pulled open, but you know, overall price ranging just a little bit, kind of after a big move, but it happens anytime, right? And then you can see slow movements to the downside, and then 2, 3, or 4 just massive candles, and I'm talking on second time frames, and then that's it. And then maybe there's continuation or whatever, but it's during this point in time, it's during this 1 minute or two, right, when you have system overload. And I think that the speculation is that, you know, maybe some traders have different API access, or it is just straight up their matching engine cannot handle the volume. I'm actually more inclined to think that it's the former rather than the latter. I think that BitMEX makes billions and billions and billions of dollars. I don't think that they need to worry about actually rigging the system. Most people just feel that way. And yes, that is generally how most exchanges are going to run. But, and again, I'm not here to talk good or ill about BitMEX. It's just an exchange. But I think their matching engine just sucks. And there's no excuse for it. That's why, again, I've never had system overload on ByBit. And that's why I like trading on ByBit. Oh, geez, show me how powerful you can be. Okay. Well, let's go through the order book and close out my long idea, or through the order block and exit out my long idea. Definitely not a fake out. Big ass dump, man. That $1 billion Bitcoin movement was not anything to play with. There, we hit the buys in the order block and broke through them, and that's my alert to get out of Bitcoin. So now I've got to do something. Hold on. Whoa, see, no system overload on ByBit. So we'll see. Very nice sweep, Ferguson. We'll see if you're right, man. Wonder if you have to change your news brief on back on the top of the hour now. Top of the hour, guys. We're live here at fucking ByBit, where longs just got fucking smoked. Let's see here. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see what BTC pairs are doing. Meanwhile. And we've got Ethereum breaking for the upside. We've got XRP BTC breaking for the upside. We've got Cardano breaking for the upside. We've got EOS breaking for the upside. We've got Tron probably going to zero. Wait. All right. I don't know. I wouldn't say any convincing buy signals on those. Those are reversal calls. With the exception maybe of ETH Bitcoin. But these things just look too nasty. All right, let's go back over to Bitcoin and see if we can get any more drama for today. So look, I just want to point something out. Just look where price wicked off of. You can hear the sadness in his voice. Nah, man, it's just a trade, dude. I've been doing this for years, dude. Oh, you know what? Actually, there we go. Maybe I did have the speakers on. The key to not ever being upset about a losing trade is position size appropriately and trade for the long term. Let's bring back that. Dun, 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 dun. How are you guys doing? All right, go over to sorry, let me get the chat back. Okay. But it's a sad day for all of us. Nah, man. Sun is shining. We are on top of the mountains up here at the peak of the world. And we're at a day and age where we're worried about Bitcoin's price going from 11,000 to 10,400. As real. Justin caught the long just now at 10,261. Thank you, ByBit, for no overload. Ferguson said, Seabiscuit coming around turn 4. Did I close my position? I had to move the funds that I had put into my long into a hedge. We got whale alerts from TwitterBot? That's not a phone call I want to take. Okay, so 4-hour OB. So if I were going to play this intraday, as far as my original long position, though, no, I didn't exit that. I did what I said I was going to. If if this 4-hour candle closes where it is, then yes. As I said at the very beginning of the show, if the 4-hour candle closes below the 13 EMA, then I will close 50% of my position. And if I close 50%, or excuse me, if we close below the 4-hour OB, then I will exit the other 50% of my position. And that is the, that's what you do, man. You do what you say and you say what you do. Otherwise, you just panic and things happen in the market and you do whatever and you just react. That's why I talk about, there's nothing wrong. I don't think that they work very well. But things that I have on the chart right here. Trend lines, Fibonacci retracements, triangles, blah, 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 blah. Those things all work well, but generally they serve to give people analysis paralysis. They're very hard to backtest. Because they're very hard to backtest, it's very hard to build a system. Very hard to build a system. And when you have a system and you trade by rules, then over time you make money, right? And that's about it. Jack and Azriel killing it, scraping up that 10-250 long. So let's see. Let's let this play out. Let's let this play out. We'll come back to this in a little bit. Oh, it's 1 o'clock. All right, so it's 1 o'clock. We'll go to break. We'll come back and we'll do the news of the day. We'll cover Forex. We'll look at what you guys want. And then hopefully this will be updated by then. Or we'll have something more to talk about. We'll still be an hour away from the 4-hour close, so we'll still be away from decision time. But ideally, we'll either be above or below the OB, so it doesn't really matter as far as my position goes. And also, I want to go over the, let's see over here. Need to do, this has to do with the $1 billion transfer this morning. We'll go over this, which is going to be, relevant for anybody in the group or anybody thinking about it, because this is our P&L adjusted results for August, my P&L adjusted results for August. And we're also going to, we need to go to Twitter and look at who won so we can give away some crypto. Showing off the guns, I guess, apparently. Jeez, Justin. Sharing my 3 commas experience. Yeah, Ben Shapiro and Satoshi are in the lead. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw this. I'm gonna go to break on this. Fox Trader, what's going on, brother? I'm gonna go to break on the heels of this because this is just great. You guys can't hear it. Oh, good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back in just a little bit. All right, I'll see you guys in just a second. Welcome back to Breaking Bitcoin, guys. If you missed the first hour, you didn't miss anything. Just Bitcoin dropping 4% and pushing me out of a long position. It happens. Hey, guys, we had a fantastic first hour. We're going to kick off the second hour nice and strong. We've got some news to go over. We've got some current events in Bitcoin. I really want to talk about the $1 billion Bitcoin transaction, as well as looking at the adjusted P&L results and also figuring out who we're going to give $25 in Bitcoin to today for winning the chair, naming giveaway contest. I think is the proper way to word that. Yes, the chair naming giveaway contest to one of our community members, guys. So without further ado, let's slide back on over to the charts and see what's happened in the 5-minute break. This button. Hey, what's going on, guys? Back from the snowy peaks of the Himalayas. I think we're in the Himalayas. I'm not exactly sure where that came from. I also turned down the, what do you call it? The audio, because apparently that was overwhelming. I turned down the audio on the alerts and subs. And I apologize for that. Turn that down. What happened to Save Rider? I thought it was Wave Rider. It's on there, man. Did I see the big FU candle? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just keep on rolling. That's life, man. Stacking Stoner. Yeah, I'm gonna default to what Scott said there. Patreon's fine and we have it, but it's really a pain in the butt, man. I'm not gonna lie. Silver and gold taking it on the chin today. So you mean all of our hard forms of currency are taking it on the chin today? So let's go down and we're going to go to and talk about those current events, but just wanted to kind of recapitate what happened over the last 5 minutes. And we're on the 30-second chart. So we had a little bit of an oversold bounce back into a little bit of period of consolidation. Not really looking super bueno on that 4-hour time frame. Again, right at price currently trading at 10,390, and of course the order block ends at 10,389. So not looking very good for the bulls intraday, but again, we'll see. No short signal on the 4-hour. Is that a Pola Aurora gaming chair? I wish. I think it's the non-name brand Amazon Basics gaming chair, which is probably why I don't like it so much. So I kind of splurged on the other chair because it's just not comfortable. And I don't think it's the quality is why it's not comfortable. I'm a firm believer that you get what you pay it for. But I just don't like it, man. It's just not, I don't do a whole lot of like gaming, So I'm sure it'd be fine for that, but I want to sit here and code and write and shoot videos and chart and just sit and have conferences, which is a lot of what I do. This just in. Let's see here. Hold on. I'm going to get that. I'm sure I'm going to get it eventually as I get more familiar with this, but yeah, it's 3. Ladies and gentlemen, this just in. Longs have been wrecked. Longs have been absolutely wrecked. We've got a noble long that was holding on to his position. Will he be saved by a recovery pump to break even? Stay tuned. Gold and silver was going to reverse with China coming back to the trade table. Well, yeah, go take a look at USD CNH. All right. Go look at USD CNH. Like Full Metal Jacket. So it depends on how you trade cryptonomics. So I don't trade reversals. I'm a trend following trader. So we talked about this a lot at the open of the show, and we talked about potential downfalls, we talked about potential upsides, and I was a bull and my trading theory was invalidated. Somebody said, "Watch this, you'll hear the faint screams of thousands when I click this sell button." Paul, you missed your first take profit by $8. Oh, man. On the next episode of Will It Recover? The Russians did it? Pretty sure this was the North Koreans. If we close below the OB on the 4-hour, will I short? No, most likely not. Unless I have a signal to short, I won't. And as I said, it's going to take some time for the daily indicators to reset. The 4-hour indicators might get us there, and that's a potential, but I don't see anything that's going to be coming in on this 4-hour system. Bitcoin is skydiving. 15-minute Minx gave a short signal. Yeah, 15-minute Minx did give a short signal. Shoink. And Wadatar gave it... Well, actually, let's expand. So, 15-minute... Yeah. You might have been able... Yeah, right here. Yep. 15-minute Minx gave it right here. And would you have taken it here? No, because you closed above the baseline. And here, you were not below. Here you got a long, so none of these you would have taken. This was your first valid signal on the 15-minute. So yeah, you could have taken this on the 15-minute time frame. Okay. Let's go talk about some stuff. Let's go talk about some stuff. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is the water project. I just wanted to mention that because yesterday, yesterday I did send my company's monthly contribution to the water project, and this is just an opportunity to say, hey guys, you guys can donate to whatever cause you like. I think it's a great cause, and more importantly. And also, I just wanted to let people know when people I've got about 6 or 7 people here that won the crypto comment giveaway, and they asked me to donate their proceeds to the water project, and I did that. So just letting you guys know that they have their donations live on here somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where you go to see it, but if you guys want to verify the veracity of what I said, it's all public information who donates, and I clicked the make my donation public. But whatever. Regardless, and you'll see it's from Kraken Cryptocurrency. But my point is, I'm really, really, really against government taking my money. And I think that the only way to prevent believing the concept that if you want people who are less prosperous, that people who are struggling economically, that if you want to not believe the lie that the government needs to take your money to solve that problem, and you want to believe that we live in a world where people are powerful enough to solve their own problems, then I think it's fairly incumbent upon individuals to give to charity out of their own free goodwill. Because listen, it doesn't matter how much money you make. if you just make it part of your regular routine. If it's got to be $5 a month, then you give $5 a month, and it just gets you in the habit of doing that. So just wanted to do my monthly mention of that, guys. We also give to the Electronic Frontier Foundation. It was the Venezuelans cashing to buy airplane tickets to flee their paradise. Let's see. So the other thing I want to go over is not this, not this, not this. All right, let's figure out who won. The poll is closed. So who is going to get $25 in Bitcoin? And what are we going to call my chair? Okay, let's go down. All right, we've got Trade of Thrones with 50% of 14 votes, so that's 7 votes for Trade of Thrones. It's a good one. All right, let's get a fresh piece of paper. And yeah, Philip, thank you so much. I know that you had made a donation to them as well, man. Highly appreciated, man. Highly appreciated. Thank you very much. Let's do... All right, so 7 votes. Trade of Thrones. Call your chair, Andrew. Don Candon says... Philip Carr, man, thank you so much for the 20 quid, my good friend. Highly appreciated, my good man. Shout out to you and Manchester Mint. Thank you so much, man. Highly appreciated. You are the man. And also, you got some sweet, sweet jungle beat tunes, guys. Give a big thank you to Philip, man. Thank you for supporting the stream, my friend. Highly appreciated. Name it Lucille. Now I know how QCon felt. Don asks, do I know how much these projects keep for themselves? For example, the Red Cross takes like 70% for themselves and only 30% is actually donated. Yep. So there is a list of verified charities where they're actually audited by third parties. So non-governmental non-government entities, because I don't trust the government to do anything. And they look at the actual amount of charity taken in to charity put out. And the Water Project ranks extremely highly for that. So both them and the Electronic Frontier Foundation, I don't recommend giving to the Red Cross. I'm not sure exactly how much good work that they do. And I generally support local initiatives more. So like United Way, I've given to United Way before because they're local and I've seen them do things in my community, which is good. And I always, as I always say, Qui-Gon, as I always say, start off with your local community first and then reach out and try to make things better. But I kind of highlight the Water Project, not only because they score very highly and I think they do good work, but they also they also accept cryptocurrency donations, which I think is great. Crypthronius. So 47%, so that's 13. All right, sorry, that's 6. 6 votes for Crypthronius. So I'm sorry, Crypthronius got beat out by Trade of Thrones. Nope, no for the Dome Throne, Skywalker, Nifkins, or Sherry. Thanks, guys, I appreciate it. But Andrew, did you skew the competition? I think that's about 5 votes for Olga, but I'm sorry, just not enough. Wave Rider coming in, getting 6 votes, still not enough to beat Trade of Thrones. Siddha Attar, oh man, I was really hoping for that one, dude. I was really hoping for Siddha Attar, but only 5 votes for Siddha Attar. And let's see here. All right, so we've got 11 votes for Satoshi. Satoshi wins, man. I was really looking forward to that Ben Shapiro, man. I was really looking forward to that Ben Shapiro. But Satoshi will work just fine. I'm sure we are honoring Nakamoto's legacy by naming our chair after them. Whenwasnow. Thank you so much for your excellent recommendation. We will name the chair Satoshi, And if you get a hold of me in the Discord and give me your BTC address, I will send you $25 in Bitcoin, my good friend. And make sure you guys know that Elon Musk confirms there is no aliens. If I did something wrong, if you guys wanna, if you guys are a participant, and you're like, wait a second, you did your math like terribly. Please go back and check my workout. If I made a mistake, let me know. If I did make a mistake, I already said that I would. So when was now? You're still going to get $25, my good friend. Make sure to send me a DM. But I will also send, if I actually did make a mistake, we will rename the chair and I will send the actual winner $25 as well. Okay. Veto. Let's go back and check in where we're at. Still inside the OB. Satoshi is fantastic. Yeah, we got some pretty creative members of the community, man. Loved it. Bob says, I may have missed my TP by $8, but we've got to admit I basically called the top by $8 using PTP. Awesome, man. Great job, Paul. You're doing really good, man. Really impressed with your performance, man. Now I know how Qui-Gon felt, Devin, when he got lightsabered. Anyways, guys, I wanted to show you this. I want to give a big thank you to Furry Boffin. He's the one who developed this. So I had developed an advanced trading journal, and he came in on the heels of what I did and really made this awesome, awesome tool. So members in the group have access to this now, and this is, I mean, just simply the best way that I know to track your portfolio. And really know where all your dollars and cents are going, which is absolutely essential. So there's a lot of data here. Almost all of this is done automatically for you. But anyways, I just took all of our trades. These are all posted on, you guys can go to results.krakencryptocurrency.com. And you guys can see all of our public results from the trading group going back to January of this year. Every trade is timestamped. Every trade shows the metrics, and feel free to communicate with any member. Again, I like people to verify the veracity of everything that I talk about. So if you guys got questions and you don't want to hit me up, hit up anybody that you want. Yeah, so I was really, really impressed. So this is, again, very reflective. So this is, the way that I do this is I look at the position sizing rules that are posted, and I go over the position sizing rules that we explain on how we take trades in the group. And so I use the position size calculator for every single one of these trades with the entry date and the exit date. And this is a example portfolio generated from $5,000. So taking every trade that we took, starting off with $5,000 and position sizing the right way. Position sizing the right way for each trade. Difference here between leverage trading, obviously, where one is able to take more risk, and you guys can see that. What is the position size right here? What is the position size per trade? What is the quote pair? Whether it's BTC or USD? What is that position size translated to USD if it is a US or if it is a BTC pair? The percent of equity. Obviously, this is always going to be below 100% if it's a spot exchange trade. But for example, as you can see here for ETH-U19 or EOS U19, these can be more than 100% if we have access to leverage and you are trading a size larger than your account. But anyways, and then all these are calculated. So this will be in currentresults.krakencryptocurrency.com. This sheet is public. You guys can go check this out if you want. You can verify my math. Again, I like to make sure that everybody verifies everything that I say, the veracity of what I say themselves. But anyways, TLDR, end of month results for August 2019 in the premium trading group, 29.60% total ROI on USD. That means that is how much actual equity growth you would have had. That's actual return on equity. So if you started with $5,000, you would end the session with $6,479.91. There was about 0.009 BTC P&L from that, but this is assuming that you kept your wealth in dollars at all times, whether that's through shorting or whether that is through actually sitting in cash and making the transfer to enter BTC trades at the given point in time. All those fees are calculated for as well. So actually, this could be for the individuals who held their value in BTC or used hedging instruments that we talk about, such as shorting or hedging up or options if they wanted to. Becomes a little bit more complex, but this is assuming that you sat in cash and you literally bought into Bitcoin every single time. So if you didn't, then you can subtract a lot of those fees and potentially your upside would be potentially in the low 30%. It's probably not greater than 31 or 32%, but potentially 1 or 2% higher if you are adjusting for those fees, depending on, again, I don't really think that fees, I think that people really, really overestimate fees. I think that there is this huge like fear of using market entry orders for some silly reason because people are like, oh, you pay. Why are you paying all this money in fees? Fees in cryptocurrency are so low. It's ridiculous. They do not, I did the calculations on this. Like when you factor in fees, you're talking about maybe 1%. And that's over a month. So anyways, this is public and live for you guys. I really enjoy being as honest and transparent as I can. Again, I've said this many, many, many times. What we do at Kraken Cryptocurrency is we really focus on education and teaching people how to build trading strategies, but we do provide signals and setups as well, and they are quite good. Are we always right about the direction of the market? No, but the way that but nobody is, right? And that is the point that I try to make very, very frequently, is that nobody has an amazing predictive capability. There are some times when traders call reversals and they nail it. More often than not, they do not. Most individuals are not transparent. By keeping a trading journal, by putting their trades out there, by showing the veracity of what they do, and I strive to be as open and honest and transparent as I can, and so does my entire team. That's why I only have people on my team who strive to be as open and transparent, because I saw a lot of people that I really respect lose money in 2017. 2017. And I did not, I don't like seeing that. There's no reason. There's not very good education out there. Trading is difficult if you don't have good education. It's not difficult if you start off on the right foot, learning risk management and position sizing and emotional discipline and rigor, structure, trading the same way all the time, utilizing the same thing, not looking at what other people say, not depending on subjective analysis. Trading in a disciplined, strategic manner. And when you trade in that manner, all you have to worry about is your end of month ROE. That's all you have to worry about. It doesn't even matter if you win more often than you lose, because you can have a low hit rate and position size wise still make money. So this is why a lot of traders will just show you the results from their trades, and that's fine. That is assuming that you're putting the same amount of money into each trade, which obviously is ridiculous. If you have a trade with a lot of risk, you're not going to be putting as much money into that trade as a trade with a small amount of risk. So this is P&L position size adjusted. So this is public. Let me know if you guys have any thoughts on this, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So overall, great, fantastic month of August for us. Currently, just raw ROI percentage up about 26.32%. There are a couple altcoins that are going to ding us, but I do not think are going to bring us into the green, especially P&L wise, because again, we took a couple altcoin trades here, and those are down. I'm just looking at my results tab right now, but those are very small position sizes as opposed to the position sizes that we've taken that are successful. So, all right, so let's go over to. Do I have a good book to learn about trading options? Thanks. Not really. Don Candon says, this sheet is a fraud. Show us the one you keep under the table, Mr. Satoshi. Well, I'm sorry, sir. If I showed you that sheet, I'd have to kill you. As far as books on trading options, I mean, I'm sure there's good books on trading options. You just have to understand, you have to understand obviously the difference between, your call. I mean, there's options is fairly complicated. American style options, which are going to be the options that you can get on Deribit, which is good because you can actually execute your trade prior to expiration date, as opposed to European style options where you have to wait till the expiration. So European style options aren't even like worth trading. In my opinion. I know that they are popular among certain types of hedging, but in my opinion, I think that European style options are generally utilized for hedging, whereas American style options are also going to be used for hedging, but they're also used to distort or skew or alter the risk to reward profile of any asset that you're trading. In the case of Bitcoin, when you're on Deribit, which is the platform that offers options right now, although Binance is going to be offering options apparently too, because they have acquired Gex, which is a small derivatives exchange, to the best of my knowledge, and so they're going to be offering options, and that's kind of what we covered the other day, where they took basically the auto deleveraging information and the way that the futures contract is going to be structured basically directly from BitMEX. And BitMEX was like, hey, we see you had as much fun copying it as we did writing it. So that was pretty funny. We did cover that the other day. And CZ kind of laughed it off. But yes, it is Sebastian. How do you view the sheet? You go to results.krakencryptocurrency.com. Sure, yeah. And you should be able to just go right here to the top thing in the folder. And they're also all the way down to January too as well. So anyways, how would I position size for scalping? I would position size the same way that I position size for every trade, which is dynamically based on the average true range. But that's more specific to me. But at the end of the day, your position size needs to be based on your risk percentage, how much you are willing to lose per trade, and the distance to your stop loss. So how much risk is in the trade. So generally, I recommend that newer traders start off with 1% or less risk, meaning that if your stop loss gets hit, that's how much of your account you lose. And often especially if you are testing a new strategy out with live capital, you first want to be using smaller funds, but you definitely want to be using 1% or less risk because you're going to be working out the kinks and the bugs in your trading strategy. As opposed to you are very confident, this is a swing trade, you're using 2 to 3% risk, for example. I do not recommend using a standard size per trade. Cryptonomics says Options Trading Book, Options Trading 101 From Theory to Application by Bill Johnson. Very good book. Old but good. Let's see if it's on Amazon. Here it is. From Theory to Application. It's on Kindle for $9, man. Or you can own the hardback for $51.03. I will pop this link in the description as well. You could probably find that at your local library. Not around here, man. Depends on where you live. Okay, let's go to all right, so we covered Bitcoin, the water project, the new trading chair, last month's P&L adjusted results. Okay. Let's go over to the news.
And now, the news you trust, the stories you need to hear. Because in the day and age when we get our news sources from YouTube and Twitter, let's listen to the guy with the good microphone and the nice-looking studio.
I guess I'll just have to copy pasta. All right, here we go. Don't feel like this is right. One moment. We will come back to that. So let's go find that whale alert post. Here it is right here. So here is probably the most interesting thing that happened today. 94,504 Bitcoin, which is $1 billion, was transferred from an unknown wallet to an unknown wallet. Now, this is probably one of the largest on-chain transactions that I've seen in quite a while. A lot of people are obviously calling for this, calling this as backed, that they are moving funds around and stress testing the system before launching because they've already been doing UAT. And this is Bitcoin from the largest non-exchange address on the move here, according to Alex Kruger. He says, now, whoever you are, please be a good friend and go 2x with this. But what's interesting about this is Craig Wright found his lost key. He's going to pump it to cover the money he's got to hand over. So obviously different opinions on whether this is extremely bullish or extremely bearish. Again, we've had a short intraday movement play out. Fundamentally speaking, I don't think that one can garner the opinion from that. But this is an infographic that somebody made of the Chainalysis based off of this. So we can determine that the end result of where these funds went to, 37XU, as opposed to 1JCE, these funds all did originate from the same source. And we can see how the funds have bounced around. We can see how the funds have bounced around over time. So this is all August of 2017. These transactions were made. Accumulating buys from this wallet did occur in 2016. And by that, obviously, we don't have the order book information, but we have the deposits to this originating address, 1JCE. So these occurred in about 2016. This wallet was buying, in technical terms, bigly, buying up the Bitcoin back in 2016. Over 2017, these transfers of 15,000, 12,799, and 11,799 went to these addresses, as well as 43,000 Bitcoin originally back to the same address. And then we also have these addresses originating to 37XU, which was the originating wallet of the 94,000 transaction. This is how it all adds up. All of these funds, all of these Bitcoins come from the same source. They were moved around at some point in time, and you can see that they weren't traded, that the exact same amount went in, the exact same amount came back out. It's about $600, by the way, to transact this $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. Only about $600 on-chain transaction. So getting back over here to the whale alerts. And again, that's $600 to move $1 billion. That's extremely cheap. And that's almost enough to buy 20 pizzas. So this isn't an extremely helpful thread, unfortunately. It hasn't gone through any exchanges yet. Here's inflow and outflow. Yeah, just the regular results from crypto Twitter here. Let's see here. This is Glassnode. Our data confirms this was the largest non-exchange entity cluster consisting of dozens of Bitcoin addresses with a peak balance of 124,178 Bitcoin that were accumulated in late 2016. According to our flags, at least 73,000 Bitcoin of this whale's balance originate from Wabi Global. Ooh, hey. We'll dump to 2K in the next 2 months. Very bearish. So one thing that I've seen a whole bunch is, why would they aggregate all of this dispersed Bitcoin, which is where they had it? Why would they aggregate it all into one UTXO? And Scoffin here saying could be for ease of cold storage. Not likely. Could be to facilitate transfer to another entity. He's thinking number two. I'm thinking this entity will distribute these coins via backed or an ETF to institutions, potentially. So again, that's why a lot of people are saying backed. Wendy says, I was half asleep. Thank you so much, Ermias. Yeah, Bob, Paul, did you check that address before you hit send, man? I didn't get that $1 billion, man. Glassnode publicity stunt from saying that it was Wabi. I went through this thread earlier. I couldn't really find anything. Just, again, the regular fucking Twitter shit. Do these guys all just get the same gifts from everywhere? Anyways. Smiles J asks, what do I use to trade? I use TradingView to chart, and I use ByBit's actual platform to trade on, and then 3 commas for anything that's not on ByBit. Philip asks, when I look at Forex, can I review the silver dollar versus Bitcoin and other main non-currencies sometimes? In the sense of what? Like in the sense of their value against one another? As in, what I mean by that is, do you want an analysis of something like BTC to ZAG, which you could jimmy up by dividing the USD value against the USD value? And therefore you could get a ratio, you could see a curve, or you could do a direct compare and look at fractals, or you could chart them on different axes and look for different data points and data sets. It depends on what we're interested in. Like, you know, are we fundamentally bullish on silver? Are we fundamentally as opposed to Bitcoin, or what kind of different growths do we feel we're going to see? And yes, I know of KuCoin, and no, I would not. I don't trade on KuCoin, and I'm not saying that it's a negative. I'm not saying that it's a negative exchange, but it's too jank for me, man. So you might ask, why are people saying that it's backed? Well, one of the reasons why is because of the backed warehouse, because they have launched deposits and withdrawals as planned. They have officially launched, the backed warehouse custody solution. It's now open for customers to deposit and withdraw Bitcoin ahead of the full Bitcoin settled futures launch on the 23rd of September. Exciting day for me on the 23rd of September. As Bakkt announced the successful and on-time launch of the warehouse yesterday, a curious 94,000 Bitcoin, worth approximately $1 billion, moved to an unknown wallet just hours later. Presumably, Bakkt as well as potentially the VanEck ET. So we have to make sure. So the VanEck is not an ETF. It's no different than the Grayscale Trust. It's a trust. It is available to institutional investors, but these funds will be going to OTC. I mean, there is a good case to be made that these funds are going to Bakkt for the warehouse. So again, that's probably the most likely. It's probably the most likely option there. It's a move in preparation of opening the exchange. If that's true, then again, what people have been saying for a long time is true, that institutions were accumulating in 2016, 2017, or this is a whale that is basically being paid to sell OTC. right? Not necessarily that institutions were accumulating. Well, it would have had that has to be institutional funding. I would find it very highly unlikely if one individual investor was savvy enough to say, I'm going to scoop up, well over $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, and then I plan on holding this until I can sell it to OTCs. It's possible. That's more institutional mindset. So let's talk about this. So everybody got really, really, really excited for IEOs, and we talked about the upsides and downsides of trading them. We've charted them since they've launched over the last really 6 months almost. And I'll say that the IEO phenomenon, it appears to have mostly been a dud for investors, right? So we've got some data from Longhash suggesting that the average return on investment from the 11 IEO platforms that have been surveyed was minus 80%. So some of the biggest losers included exchanges Probit and P2P B2B, hosting IEOs averaging ROIs below minus 90%. Crypto exchange Corneal had the largest number of failed IEO listings, with an average ROI around minus 60%. The Longhash analysis doesn't even include all the IEOs that have already failed or shut down before the period surveyed. Only four exchanges had positive ROIs to date, with Binance leading the chart with an average ROI above 200%, helped mostly by its BitTorrent IEO that raised $7 million in 15 minutes. Even with the losers aside, this recent IEO trend barely registers relative to the ICO craze of 2017, where billions were raised toward tokens that seemingly pumped and dumped for no reason at all. So the question, obviously, is this crypto funding model just dead in the water? And that if that is true, because the IEOs have not taken off, there has not been this retail surge. 2017 may have been a really unique opportunity in the market for tokens, and that anybody that is so that matters as a technical analyst, because if you are so not really for me, not really for the way that I trade, because I'm indicator based and database, but when you're doing things that are subjective like trend lines, and you're looking for fractals and repeatable patterns, and you are comparing any line, level, support and resistance, price, fractal, trend, triangle, Elliott wave to back what happened in 2017, I mean, I would argue that you're being absolutely ridiculous, because I don't think that that was indicative of what happens. And I've seen this. Listen, you have to understand, anybody who's watching or anybody who's been a trader in any asset other than cryptocurrency for more than a year will give weight to this, which is, this is exactly what we see in the realm of penny stocks, right? We see a massive craze come in for a sector of penny stocks. They pump up insane, they dump, and then they go sideways for a decade. And every once in a while, you'll get 100% pump on one, and every penny stock trader that I know is just chasing that quick intraday volatility, man. Sincere80 says, WADA with the latest settings and slow Fisher are amazing for Forex. 8 out of 8 of my trades hit TP. Do I know how to set multiple take profits on a Wanda? Europeans not allowed trading via TradingView. Yeah, so what you have to do is you have to set sell limit orders instead. That's how I do it. So whether you're going to do it on the Owanda platform or whether you're going to do it in TradingView, obviously you can't do it in TradingView, but instead of, let's go to Forex. All right, and we'll go look at an open trade of mine, right? So as you can see, here's an open, oh shoot. Wider screen so you can see. So here's an active trade that I have on the Aussie yen. And we'll zoom in a little bit and you can see here's my entry price right here. And I have my stop loss down here. And I have a sell limit order. So instead of when we right click, we go to trade, create new order. We can either do a market right? So market buy, we'll put our market buy here. So instead of doing that, we want to select a sell, and we want to do a limit sell order. And then you'll just put the price that you want to sell at, and then whatever portion of your position that you want to sell. You have to actually write in how many units you want to sell, because Awanda does units and not lots, which is similar, but not really at all kind of type thing. So, you know, if you want to take 25% profit at take profit 1 and 25% profit at take profit 2, well, you just pull open old Mr. Calculator, you take your position size and divide by whatever. Or again, I think that math should be, I think that it's better if you can do the math in your head, or you can just, you know, so that's how you do it. You'd set multiple sell limit orders instead of the take profit option that is there. And that's exactly how you do it on ByBit as well. You don't actually what's the point I'm looking for? You don't actually use the take profit option that is brought to you. Jay Lopez, he said, talk about the recent dump, please. Yeah, we only covered it for an hour. Safe to long here, or should you go short? That was a huge dump. Please go over this. So I do not like telling people what direction to go to. I'll just talk about my own trades. I was in a long position. Half of that long position is going to be invalidated, it seems, here in about 2 hours. And actually 100% of it might be invalidated in about an hour, depending on where we close. So just as I said at the beginning of the stream, and just as I said yesterday, if we close below this 4 hour, which is 10,624, which seems very, very likely at this point in time, I will take 50% of my position off the table. So that's pretty much in the bag for me. And then if we close below 10,389, I will exit the rest of my position. I'll keep my Ethereum short open. And then should we end up consolidating, so say this was just a big fake out, a big sweep for liquidity, we're going to continue going sideways and then push back up, I'm still going to need to wait for a re-entry signal. Because it looks like the day is going to print with a lowered column and essentially kick me out of the trade. Now, Fisher didn't cross under yet. So on the daily time frame, there is validity to keeping the daily position open, right? Because we have not gotten an exit signal on the daily and we are still above the baseline. But I do what I say and say what I do, and I said exactly what I would do because I switched down to the 4 hour time frame to manage my trade more intensively. And so that is going to be what I do. For good or for ill. Because developing the rules and following the rules is what gives me long-term success. And it doesn't really matter what happens here, up, down, right, left, or sideways. All I need to do as a trader is follow the rules, and I know I make money in the long run. Doesn't matter if I make money today, doesn't matter if I make money tomorrow. But if I follow the rules, I will make money eventually, and I will make more money than I lose. And that's it. And that is how you become a consistently profitable trader. No problem, Sincere. Let's take a look at Forex real quick. I did want to look at Forex. Doing pretty good in Forex right now. I am up about 10% so far now on the month, actually. So it's been a really good opening month. I had a couple losing. I was actually up a little bit more. I had a couple losing trades. Like the Aussie Kiwi, actually, that is open right now. So the Aussie Kiwi is actually open right now. This trade's not doing fantastic. So I'm in a long Aussie Yen trade. I am in a long Aussie Kiwi trade. I had thought about going long in the Aussie dollar, so that's kind of weird, but anyways, stuff happens. Canadian Swissy, I was potentially considering going long on, but I did go long on the Canadian yen. I didn't want to overexpose myself to the, basically I'm shorting yen by default, essentially, by going long on all these counter yen pairs. But anyways, long on the CAD yen, that's doing pretty well. Euro Aussie, I've been short on the Euro Aussie for a while. Very pleased with that trade so far. Up about 206 pips. Already took profit off at about 125 pips right here. So just letting the rest roam with my stop at break even. The euro pound I am short on. And again, I already took half of my profit off when this candle opened up. We've basically retraced almost to my stop loss at break even on this candle, but still in the short. Has not been invalidated. Let's see here. Out of the pound CAD. The pound CAD, I was long on the pound CAD. Took 50% profit because it hit my take profit 1, and I am now out of the pound CAD back at break even. And then other positions is the Aussie CAD. I'm long on the Aussie CAD and long on the Aussie Swissy. I owe you a few beers, agency. Thank you, man. Highly appreciated. As far as other positions, let's see here. The Aussie dollar. Well, I mean, a lot of the I didn't want to trade the dollar because we had ADP non-farm coming up, and I didn't like trading into that event. As far as today, we also had a lot in CAD and the dollar. We had non-farm employment change continuing today, the unemployment rate, employment change, unemployment rate. You know, those things are pretty important. Plus Fed, you know, the Fed chairman speaking, and then with the China wars, I didn't want to take too many dollar trades, man. So it kind of stuck to my Aussie and my Swissy trades, and I saw that I think the yen is weak right now, anyways, intraday. So that's all working out pretty well for me. Again, realized about 2.5% today off the profit that was taken. Philip asks, quick question. If say you trade with $10,000, what limit would I have on upper limit would I have on active trades at any one time? So it's not quantity of trades, although I only trade the major currency pairs. So personally, I don't like having, I get on, you know, if I have 5 open trades in Forex, like daily swing trades, I start to get a little, you know, like, oh, okay, we're pushing it. I mean, I'm okay with it, but I really don't like having more than 10 positions open. But again, that's subjective because it shouldn't be the number of trades. It should be the amount at risk you have. It should be risk parity. So, it should be risk parity. So, you know, you don't want to have, you kind of have to have the number that you feel comfortable with. You're going to get all kinds of different things. As long as, if every trade, let's say you're using 2% risk. So if every trade that you're in is going to put you at 2% risk of your account, then I do not recommend having more than 10 to 15% of your account at risk at any one given point in time, right? Some people are going to be way more conservative. Some people are going to say 6%, right? Which is pretty good. You know, Dr. Elder recommends that in his Coming to My Trading Book room, which is my trading room book, which is a really, really good book. I think that's a little too conservative, but I think that's right, especially if you're a newer trader. So, but that would say don't have more than 3 positions open, which again, with the volatility in Forex, I think that trading Forex is again one of those times where I don't think you can trade Forex all the time. I don't think the volatility is there all the time, but it's there now, and you kind of got to get while the getting's good. So again, I think that all comes down to managing your risk intertrade. And yeah, for me, I don't enjoy having more than 15% of my account at risk at any one given time. I think that's honestly probably too much. It doesn't happen too much to me because, you know, good signals typically roll, right? So typically you're at that level of risk. And that's why, for example, in the trading group, we've got combined risk or aggregated risk, right? We got adjusted risk and combined risk. So if you're taking 10 positions, well, you either don't want to take 10 positions or you need to reduce your risk per trade so that you're not exposing your account to excessive risk. Because as long as you follow, see, here's what people don't understand. And I hope you guys do. I mean, you guys show up here every single day, and the guys in the group do. But trading is not about being right. It has nothing to do with being right. There's not a single person out there who knows which way the market's going. That is nonsense, right? It's nonsense. It doesn't exist. You guys are chasing a dream that doesn't exist. But what you can do is you can build a system that gives you an edge in the market, right? And using technical indicators and using if this then that logic, which is exactly what I've laid out in PTP, you can get an edge in the market, a statistical edge, and then you just grind that edge over and over and over again. And you just follow the rules and make money. You're not right about anything. You're just right about putting in the work to develop the system. And yeah, as far as Forex, I use the calendar on forexfactory.com. I'll link it right here. This is going to go to today's dates, but this is good. I would recommend doing a little bit of research if you're new to the Forex markets on like what these things are, and you can click the detail and kind of read about them. But you want to do a little bit of historical research and, you know, check the forums, because there's some stuff that Forex Factory will be like, this is red, this is like huge impact. And usually those things are pretty good. Like just at a glance, if it's red, don't trade that pair the next day. You want to be looking at tomorrow's, right? You want to be looking at tomorrow's. So for example, this is what I was looking at yesterday. You want to be looking at tomorrow's news calendar, not today's when you're trading Forex. Is there a calendar somewhere that has a schedule of things that would affect our market, such as crypto? Yeah, there's CoinMarketCal. CoinMarketCal.com. I'll link that as well in the show description, or in the chat right here. CoinMarketCal. And this is going to list, you know, events that come up. But again, this is going to be more for altcoins, and it's very, very difficult to get a good calendar on what affects Bitcoin's prices. So let's go back to Bitcoin. Talk about the game plan. We have 56 minutes and 19 seconds until the 4-hour close. As I said, if we close below this order block, my long trade will be invalidated at this point in time. I will be exiting my position. I will become hedged in my position, not full risk short, but just hedged up, and I will wait for a clearer signal, because right now there's not one. So trade safely out there, gentlemen. How much of the 10,000 in the market? I mean, you could leverage that and put 30, 40, 50,000 in the market if you have access to leverage. Again, it all comes down to how much of your account is at risk at the stop loss, right? So you can put on a much larger position size than that, or you can put on all that position. It doesn't matter. You want to be able to leverage as much as of your equity as possible, but you need to be able to do that in a safe way. And the safe way is by setting a stop loss and knowing what your full risk is up front. So that is trading with 1 or 2% risk, even less if you're just starting off with, to get comfortable with trading and develop your system and do the work and put the work in. For sure, man. And you can DM me and we can chat about it a little bit more, brother. All right, guys. Fortunately, it's 2 o'clock, guys, and we got to go. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. I've been your host, Justin Wise. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for the kind words. And again, yet another day that we get to see an interesting event happen in Bitcoin. Now, the last time we were sitting around watching a big dump on Bitcoin's price, we had been short for a while, and we had been talking about being short. So it was a glorious event. And today, we were wrong. Hey, it happens. It's okay. We keep doing the same thing day in and day out, and over time we are consistently profitable traders because we put in the work, and we do not trade emotionally. We trade logically, and we trade our setup. So if you guys would like to learn how to do that, if you guys would like to join us, you guys can head over to premium.krakencryptocurrency.com. If you guys would like to take the Pathways to Profit strategy building course, or if you guys would like to access to our community, learn how we do things, utilize our tools, and follow our rules. You guys have been fantastic. As I said, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, or death threats, leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll try to respond to you within the next 48 hours. Other than that, make sure to join the Discord over at discord.krakencryptocurrency.com, link in the show notes down below, to join our community and be there where we keep the conversation going after the show. Make sure to subscribe, follow, share, and engage in that comment section. and make sure to hit the thumbs up button. It is mandatory. You guys are absolutely fantastic. We'll be back tomorrow. BreakingBitcoin.money. If you want to catch the podcast, add us to your favorite podcast catcher. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, I'm just saying. And that's about it, guys. We'll be back here on Monday. Make sure to join the Discord if you want to know what's going on over the weekend. And trade safely. Yeah, absolutely trade safely, guys. Peace out, guys. You guys have been amazing. So glad to spend another week with you guys trading, making money, crushing it in the markets as we do. Let's wait for a clear signal and take our next step cautiously. Take it easy, guys.